Hello and welcome to the replay from the Blacktown Olympic Park Arena for the NAB Cup Round 1 matchup between the Greater Western Sydney Giants, the Sydney Swans and the Gold Coast Suns. An historic night, the evolution of the game. The 17th and 18th franchises join the AFL, and game 1 tonight, the Greater Western Sydney Giants and the Sydney Swans. Let's go to the action. And here are the Great Western Sydney Giants at home here at Blacktown Olympic Park, and a good round of applause, good crowd in to see their debut in anger in an AFL match. Let's head downstairs. Liam Pickering.
Yeah, Dwayne, beautiful conditions down here for footy. A tad humid. I'm sweating it up a little bit here, but it's really exciting to see the new team, the Giants, coming in tonight. Very young side, as you'd expect. Sydney Swans, heavy favourites, but I expect a good showing. I've seen plenty of these kids as juniors. Very, very talented group. Let's hope they give a good account of themselves tonight.
Thanks, Liam. Geelong best and fairest downstairs, and some royalty upstairs here as well. A couple of AFL Hall of Famers joining us tonight. Yes, joining us, Jason Dunstall and Paul Roos, two AFL Hall of Famers. Welcome, gentlemen.
Dwayno, what a great evening just to come and see the two new teams in the competition. Certainly Gold Coast playing in 2011, Greater Western Sydney in 2012. But Roosy, just to have a look at so many new kids that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, got a chance to come out and watch them train the other night. So they've certainly got some pace, they've got some good ball users, but maybe they might be a bit light on for tools and a bit light on the bodies, as you'd expect. But it is exciting to see them play their first game.
You've got to be thinking there's some nerves in the Greater Western Sydney camp.
Well, if you're lining up on Adam Goods or Nick Malcheski or Jared McVeigh or the like, there's certainly going to be some nerves. There's no doubt about that.
Great Western Sydney, thankfully, with some names on the back of their jumpers for this one, and there are the names that are going to be playing in front of you for the first time.
Anyone that stands out as far as you're concerned, Roosy?
Shiel, Dylan Shiel, I think it is a really, really good ball user, midfielder. I like the Aboriginal boys too. I watched them train the other night. Kuya, Stevens, Ugal and Hampton. Huge reps on Hampton, AIS boy. A lot of pace, great skill. So look, I don't think they'll have trouble moving the ball. They might have a little bit of trouble getting it. That's the only problem.
Sydney Swans with a few new players as well. Curry, Lamb, Sumner, Parker, McNeil. So looking forward to seeing them in action as well.
And Roosy, I guess a slightly different flavour about the Swans this year. A few new faces, a new coach, albeit heavily influenced by you. It'll be interesting to see what they put out as well. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing if there's any new style to their game. Also, some young kids playing for them. But look, a pretty strong side for the Swans tonight. So you'd expect them to get off pretty quickly and have a pretty fair start to the NAB Cup.
How much do you still have to do with John Longmire? Do you discuss his coaching at all? Or does he bounce things off you?
Look, I'm available if he wants to, but we've got an office in the academy away from the club, which I think is a good thing. So, look, I've been about the club, but not really involved in the footy stuff at all.
Players moving to position. Good to see Mark Seaby back for the Swans after just 6 games with Sydney in his debut season there last year. There is Dylan Shiel. A lot of talk about Israel Folau being their marquee player, Great Western Sydney, but Israel not playing tonight. But Dylan Shiel is the man you can build a franchise around. So keep an eye out for him in the number 5 in the Great Western Sydney jumper.
Could be a few difficulties for the Swans players as well, because they wouldn't have been able to do much homework on their opponents. The last thing you want to do is take for granted a young kid that you're playing on if you don't know anything about him.
Look, as I said before, if they do get the ball, and obviously they will at some stage tonight, they can use it, they can run, and the ball will be from one end of the ground to the other pretty quickly if they don't respect their opponents.
Well, one day they might win an AFL flag, and we might remember where we were the night the AFL bounced to Sharon in Great Western Sydney. We're underway. NAB Cup opening round, but of course week 2 of the NAB Cup. Through the legs initially of Reid, who in the 20 made his 1-game debut last year. Kennedy coming off that outstanding season. Bird almost caught, but then found some room in traffic, and a good mark to Cameron.
Just terrific confidence to be able to work his opponent under it, judge the ball a little bit better, and rather than go the spoil early on, how good's that for the confidence, taking a strong mark?
Yeah, Jeremy Cameron, one player that we were warned about by Kevin Sheedy, that might be able to have an impact tonight. Just working around in defence again. This will be Williams, caught though.
Well, he was caught high,
so Williams will get the free.
Some good slick hand pass there too, well drilled.
Wait there. I think that's going to be the interesting thing, just the tempo of the game for the GWS boys. Trouble there.
Tackle again. Oh, they got the benefit of the doubt there as well.
They've dodged a couple of bullets coming out of the fence already. So, but look, you just hope they keep playing. You know, they don't get shell-shocked with a couple of early goals against them.
Well, the thing is, both, even though they dodged a couple of bullets, they were being positive both times. It was a chain of hand passes. One was a square up across goal.
And that's out of play. It'll be a Swans ball. Of course, this weekend, the last weekend of the last touch out of play free kick rule. Kennedy.
Hold there. Let him lead, guys.
It'll be a 9 if he goes for it, but he might just be beyond his range, and he knows it, so he shorts. Bird.
Back a metre.
And this will still be 6, even if he kicks it from outside 50. Goes for the short, and the short pass is perfect. Kieran Jack. Yes, for those joining us for the first time, watching an AFL game, and plenty of people up north are watching for the first time. Great to have you with us, whether it's through Queensland, looking out for the Gold Coast playing later on tonight, or through Great Western Sydney. Our pleasure to have you watching our great game. And a few different rules in the NAB Cup. This will be for 6. And it drifts a little. It's only a behind from Kieran Jack.
And that's going to be the difficulty for the Greater Western Sydney boys. They're going to have to pick up their men. If they don't, the Swans will just slice them up all the way up the field. And we saw that just outside 50 for the Swans. They hit 2 targets and got an easy shot at goal. So they can't afford the young boys to lay off their opponents at all.
Shiel shoots the handball back, missed the target. Curry to Moore. Swans inside 50, looking dangerous again. And well, you guys were watching Lewis Johnston have shots at goal before this game started. Paul Roos and Jason Dunstall were waxing lyrical about how good his kicking was.
He was just kicking darts, Roos. He never missed. Set shots or little snaps. He's a beautiful kick of the footy.
Now, this could be my first Moz on tally, but he is probably the best kick at the club. He's a beautiful kick, and hopefully he kicks his one through.
He was a pick 12 back in 2008, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him than we've seen before this year. 20-minute halves, of course, in the games tonight. Bug kicks out, and Hanbury, last year's NAB Rising Star winner, takes the mark.
9-point play outside 50.
Will he have a ping at the 9-pointer? Short pass, wide pass. Bird, who Paul Roos told you is a good early season player.
Come around.
They've got a few out, but they've got some good ones in. Bird goals.
Saw some good defensive work there from Damien Williams, prepared to take front position down at, was working around the fullback position, but he got in front, really attacked the footy.
Meredith high again, big fly, no mark, off hands. Trent Dennis Lane, Burley was hot last week and he's hot again this week. Townsend, bouncing ball, Savage, bounced poorly for him. Gary Rowan bounced nicely for him, gets it onto Reed. McVeigh, try and hit a target or go for goal. Targets the go, Kennedy. His first year at the club, had an outstanding season. And that's an outstanding kick. Demolishing them at the moment. From the ball up, well, sharked in the end by Carey. Hanbury sends the Swans inside 50 again. And the mark taken by Jed Lamb, who's come off the bench, playing his first game for the Sydney Swans.
Once again, they've been okay down back in the one-on-one contest, but every single time the Swans lead, and we'll see this again as they work it around the 50. McVeigh will try and find another target inside the forward 50, and the GWS boys are setting up behind their men every single time rather than one guy standing in front. Here comes another target,
That's
and there it is.
I mean, on the first instance, Jared McVeigh was just in a pocket of space, and of all players, he shouldn't be allowed to run around. And then we just saw Josh Kennedy kick a goal a moment ago.
Thanks, mate.
He's found another little patch of space just on the edge of the corridor, probably kick his second.
And let's have a look when the centre bounce, if it does go through, who's playing on him, because it is important those young boys learn that you can't go into defensive 50 and fall asleep.
Everything.
It's a fair comment, because I think you've got to expect them to be reactive, because Sydney will certainly dictate play.
Homsch handballs back again. Shiel plays under pressure. Back to Homsch, who started it all. He's over it. He's caught. Kennedy's half tackled him legally. Ball scoots to the back. Clifton, the J.J. Liston Trophy winner last year. McVeigh. Oh, welcome to the big time, Great Western Sydney.
Here's the mark.
Challenge now again is for defenders to standing in front of the Swans players, hopefully blocking space, and also the midfielders have got to get down to help out. We're seeing a free Swans player, two Swans players
Now, the disappointing part about that, Roosy, is it's come off a 50-metre penalty, so you've got time to get numbers back. No one's paying attention. There were 2 Sydney players there on the flank on their own.
Yeah, there's not a lot of talk in the defence here, boys. Just so you know, I mean, a young team really feeling the pinch at the moment.
Craig Bird strikes it nicely, peels it back. Fantastic. They look good, Sydney.
They just push back and think that I'm here, that's okay. They've actually got to pick up the nearest dangerous man.
Seaby tried the palm down. Well done, Giles. Tried to hack it out of the area. Jedith through the traffic. Sumner from 50. Hits it nicely. Bends it back. Sensational. Nice way to kick your first. It's only 6, but it was great to watch. Paul Roos, Jason Dunstall, Liam Pickering. The voices you're hearing. And this is Lewis Johnston, who goes inside 50. And, well, it's advantage. If you play on and take the advantage, you have to keep going. And Rowan kicks the goal.
Greater Western Sydney have dropped a player back, and I like that. That's good. It's just a tactical change.
Gee, it's an Adam Goods free inside 50. Sorry, Rosie.
Come on, Humpy, don't pay those.
And look, again, that's a learning thing. You've got a free player down back. I think it's Cameron as a loose player down back. You've got a free player next to you, and you give away a free kick like that. But I think from a tactical point of view, good decision. Throw one down back.
Take a bit of pressure off your defence.
Exactly.
Bottom of the screen
eye,
here, you can see.
Bottom right. Just grabs the jumper.
Oh, not much in that.
No sense of humour.
With a score 59-3, there's certainly nothing in it. And Adam Goods, well, there was nothing in that kick. He just floated it through. Give a shot in front of goal if it's an even upper. Townsend long. Off some hands. Giles slips it out. Kick high inside 50 by Carey. Good chance here. Fly goes up. Moore about to be caught. Gets caught, but he had the strength in the court. Handball back up. Stevens outside of the foot. Misses.
You can sense the feeling around the ground. If they kick a goal, there will be an almighty roar here.
Yeah, no doubt. That was good. A nice tackle, as you mentioned. Look, Jared Moore's a strong guy. He was able to stand the tackle, but at least it affected the disposal. Comes back to Stevens, and just a very unlucky.
They've been poor defending the kick-outs.
Jetta long. Goods might go for the big one here. He just goes for the small one. That'll do.
And that is, they're at opposite ends of the spectrum. We've seen Greater Western Sydney virtually all night struggle to get the ball out of defence from kick-outs. Sydney, on the other hand, have been opening up one side, getting a loose player, and it's relayed further down. Kick, 3 quick kicks, and there's an unmarked player in the forward 50.
Yeah, very rarely do you see the ball go coast to coast like we have seen tonight, on so many occasions.
Talked about first games a lot. John Longmire's first game at the helm of the Sydney Swans, and he won't get an easier night at the office than this.
Well, you can see the Sydney Swans tactic there. They've got a little bit of water blowing out of a fan as the players walk past. That's where they do their traditional walk down and cool down as they've come off the ground. Pretty smart move on a really humid night. Got that cyclone. I think it's got its way to Sydney. We got to Melbourne a couple of weeks ago and brought a bit of humidity and rain, and it's very humid tonight here in Sydney.
So Greater Western Sydney don't have one, Pickers?
No, there actually is one. It looks more like a fan, though. I don't see any water coming out of it.
Kennedy kicks it inside 50. Pack forms. Slipped out of the tackle well. Smothered. Goods trying to shoot it up. And they're getting plenty of numbers back at least now, Greater Western Sydney. And there's a free kick. So another high and yet another debutant, Luke Parker, to take the free for Sydney.
I really like Parker. He's real hard. You can see now he's got an AFL body on him. He's a really strong kid, a hard inside, tough midfielder.
Pick 40 in the draft last year. Pick 40 2010. So he's a John Longmire pick, not a Paul Roos pick. And had no trouble with that whatsoever. Hands. Savage, well played. Backed himself in. Handball not so good. Mike Pike cuts it off. Back to Savage. They should get away with this. Williams caught though. Hiding the ball.
That was okay. Good contest down back. They got their loose player. They grabbed it. But, yeah, that's just that inexperience. Yeah, poor handball. And
he did everything right, Jimmy Savage. He attacked the footy. He evaded a tackle. He just got caught in two minds as to what to do with the footy, and in the end, put a teammate under pressure.
Josh Kennedy A great first half. It'll only be for 6, even though he kicked it outside 50. About 6-9. Doesn't matter when you're that far in front. So they won't kick a goal in this opening game. The Greater Western Sydney Giants. Mark taken by Darley. It'll be a 79-point loss.
One of the few targets they missed tonight, the Swans. They look really, really sharp, but yeah, big victory.
John Lohmeyer's first game at the helm, a 79-point victory in game 1.